All right, welcome everybody. We Three Bros Podcast. What's up, Joseph?
What up, Derek? How's it going, man?
It's going. It's almost Friday, so almost ready for a 3-day weekend.
I hate you. I swear you have a 3-day weekend like every other
Well, I
weekend,
mean, we're
man.
off on Monday. You get off Monday too, right?
Oh, well, yeah, it's not a 3-day weekend for me, but I am off on Monday, so I'll take Monday
Okay.
off,
So
man.
and then I only work 3 days, and then I'm off another 3-day weekend because it's my Friday off next week.
I don't know what the hell's going on, Derek. Can we call your company and are you guys hiring? Call them. Are they hiring, man? I'll move up to where you're living. I'll get a job. We'll call it a day, man.
We just hired a new person actually that just started last month. Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna
last
be
month.
honest with you. I'm not gonna pass a background check. We're just throwing that out there. I'm just letting you know. I'm not passing that. They're not gonna hire me. It's fine. But I wish I got those days off just like you, man. But we three bro pod. Well, yeah, I can't fucking talk, man. We Three Bros podcast. Thank you, everybody who is here and is listening. And if you're not listening, tell your friends about us and see if we can get them to listen to us as well. But we have a few things we're going to talk about this episode. The number one thing I want to talk about is Antiques Roadshow. I'm kidding. We're not talking about that again. That was a previous episode. We're not going to talk about that. We are
Or
talking
some home reno.
some home renovations. Now, home renovations. We did the bathroom a few episodes ago. Now we're doing the kitchen. We're gonna do the backsplash. I'm just kidding. This is not home renovation. Please don't call us, or at least don't call me. You probably call Derek, but don't fucking call me because I don't know none of that shit.
Nah,
I don't know nothing.
I can change light bulbs and do some electrical work, and that's about it.
Nah, I can't even change the light bulb. I call my maintenance man to do that shit for me because I'm not doing it.
That reminds me, I got a blown light bulb in one of the bathrooms, and I keep forgetting to put in a ticket to have them guys come and replace that.
It's fine, man. We've all been in the tub, or sorry, we've all been in the bathroom with with the lantern taking a poop in the dark. You just can't see if you wiped or not, but you just gotta trust your instincts. You know what I mean? So it happens. I'm sorry,
Hopefully,
everybody.
don't leave with mud butt.
Or swamp ass. I think that's another thing. If you guys don't know what swamp ass is, don't look that up. Fuck that shit. It's like, never mind. Anyways, the things we want to talk about today, amongst a few other things, the one thing on the agenda is the season finale of What If.
Yes,
Derek,
sir.
did you watch the episode?
Of course, I did.
All right, so everybody, these are spoilers. If you've not seen this episode or have not seen any episodes, we just want to forewarn you that hey, this is the spoiler section about What If. Now, Derek, initial thoughts, man. What were your thoughts on the characters and just the overall episode, man? We'd love to hear what you think.
I liked the episode. I thought it was a good season finale. So they tied a bunch of it together. I think they pretty much tied all of it together, right? There was some elements from every episode in there.
Yes, there was.
So yeah, I mean, the way that everything came together, and I was satisfied with the ending. I thought it was really good.
How did you feel about the overlapping and the unanswered questions to a lot of the previous episodes, right? Let me get where I'm like an episode. Let's say, for example, one of the episodes ended. You're like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do next. And then the next episode, they don't really answer those questions. And it wasn't until this season finale where they answered some of them, right? Did you like the way that the story was written over on that way? Because, it's like you get that, the Tony Stark episode, right? Where Killmonger rescues Tony Stark, right? Those robots are coming into Wakanda. And it just ends like that, right? And you're like, or it doesn't end like that. Obviously, we see it Shuri and, Captain Carter comes in and they're in the room and they're discussing. So obviously there's a continuation, but they don't do that, right? The next episode is, Thor partying it up and stuff, So, but again, they eventually tied it up. Did you like the way that they built it up for that season finale?
Yeah, I kind of like that. I mean, I don't think they answered everything.
Of course not.
So there was a couple episodes I think that didn't get tied up at the end.
Okay.
But they did do some callbacks to them, like the zombie episode. They dropped all the zombies on Ultron,
Yeah,
which was kind of cool. And having the Supreme Doctor or Supreme Strange was cool. Having him come back,
man. And
and of course the party thrower was pretty cool, and his battle cry was awesome. The Viva Las Vegas. That's an
shout out
awesome
to
battle cry.
shout out. Was it oh man, Elvis Presley. Shout out Elvis Presley, man. Viva Las Vegas. Yeah. So, and with like the story, what are some of the things that you can remember maybe that off the top of your head, if you can, were some questions that weren't answered?
So going back to that zombie one, I mean, it ends with um T'Challa and Spider-Man and Ant-Man's head flying back to Wakanda, but you don't see what happens because
Okay,
I
so
don't.
maybe that's something they'll touch on in season two,
Yeah,
right?
and I think they're gonna do the Gamora and Tony Stark episode in season 2
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, because
because I
again,
saw a bunch of people say something like, "Why didn't we get to see like the beginnings of this of you know how
that
Tony Stark and
storyline
Gamora ended up?" Yeah,
or that
but
multiverse.
from what I heard, it's going to be season 2.
Okay. And again, I think that's one of the cool things about What If, right? It's speculative. It's supposed to give you like, some stories that maybe you didn't think were gonna kind of pan out in that way.
Yeah,
But you, something about this episode that I really liked was the Watcher, and well, I mean, amongst other things, but the Watcher and his honesty and what he likes about the multiverse, right? It's
yeah,
like the stories and everybody's stories are what get him satisfaction and happiness, right? Like
yeah,
that's it's perfect. It's his purpose
yeah,
for him being the Watcher, right? Like that's his
yeah,
name, that's what he does. And as like towards the ending of the episode, right, he's talking about that, and like everybody's like, oh, talking about all the things that are, that meant to them, that whether it was love, whether it was somebody that they lost, whatever the
yeah,
case may be, like it was the Watcher who's just like, well, it's your stories that give me purpose. So I really like that. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if I would say I was a huge fan of the storylines, or not necessarily storylines, but just like the layered of like how eventually ended, right? Or season nine,
yeah,
like finally like answered all, like a lot of questions, right? Or at least they all tied back into each other. But
yeah,
I don't know if I like that. I wish it would have been like, and I get why they did it, but maybe if they would have changed it a little bit with the Watcher coming in and being like, hey, at the end of the episode, similar to like some Nick Fury shit, being like,
yeah,
I'm recruiting
yeah,
you, I'm taking you with me. I would have really liked to see that instead, but
yeah,
I get why they did it, and it makes sense, right? Like he couldn't reveal who he was, until literally the second to last episode, right?
yeah,
And but I thought it was a great episode from pretty much. I love the fighting scenes. The fighting scenes were
yeah,
amazing. There was some
yeah,
really cool to see everybody's powers and kind of how they overlaid with one another. I thought it was
yeah.
really cool that like Strange gave this, the spell on them to protect them
The
all,
protection spell. Yep.
and he was fucking awesome. Like I feel like he was almost just as powerful as Ultron was in a lot of
Yeah,
ways, right?
yeah,
And I think Ultron eventually realized it, right? He was sitting there and he
yeah.
just
Because he
like,
said that he now knows he's the one that he has to like take out first to be able to take out the rest of them.
yeah, because as Ultron was trying to like continue to kill them, he's just like, why the hell will you guys not die, right? He kept trying
Yeah,
to shoot, like throw everything at them, which
yeah,
I thought it was funny that they got the Soul Stone, right? Because they stole the Soul Stone off of him,
yeah,
and I don't think they realize how the Soul Stone works, right?
yeah,
Do you remember? It's a soul for a soul. So
yeah,
as they stole it, I was sitting there and I thought someone was gonna die. I was like
yeah.
waiting for one of the characters to die. I was sitting there and I was just like, who's gonna die first?
Well, maybe that only applies on what's the planet called that it came from, Volumar or whatever. Maybe it
Yeah.
only applies to attain it from the planet. A soul for a soul. Like once you have it, it
Oh,
doesn't matter
okay.
anymore.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Because
Yeah,
I guess in Avengers he was just like, oh yeah, I got the Soul Stone. And it's like, well, how do you get the Soul Stone? It was like, well, there was only one way to get the Soul Stone, so
yeah,
that makes sense. It was cool, and I guess like in Strange's universe, he still had the Time Stone, so he was still kind of able to counteract some of the things that were going, like whenever they were trying to trap them in that big, they're all green, right, and it was slowing them
yeah.
down. And then Strange kind of hit that thing, hit the double reverse, hit that Uno reverse card,
Right. No reverse.
and like just kind of like made them, all fall down and stuff, and they weren't affected by
Yeah,
the time stone anymore, right? So but I loved Ultron as a villain, right?
yeah,
And I thought Supreme Strange was awesome.
yeah,
Just like his unrelentless power was just awesome, man. Everything that
yeah,
he was able to do, to counteract what like Ultron was doing was oh man, I was blown away. Right, I was
Yeah.
really, really blown away with everything that he was able to do. The fact that he got pretty much Cthulhu, right? He fucking shot Cthulhu at this guy, three-headed
Yeah, the
dragons, right? Like
tentacles.
hydras and shit like that,
Yeah.
and like did all that stuff to fuck him up, man, and like still was like, Ultron was just like, nah, fuck this, right? So it's always cool to see characters that powerful, right? Obviously, you want to make sure that there's a counterbalance, right? It's like a boxing match, right? Like you throw
Yeah.
Mike Tyson in there, and he's gonna fight, you know, some of the people and early of his career when he led up to winning the heavyweight championship. Like, he was just knocking people out one punch, man, in the first round.
Yeah.
And you were hoping that it was exciting and it was awesome, but you're hoping maybe one of them would be able to put up a fight. And obviously,
Right.
Vander Holyfield was able to do it. Buster Douglas was able to do it. So you're hoping to see that, but you don't ever want to see it one-sided, right?
Yeah.
Like after a while, you're like, all right, this is boring. Can we get somebody?
Right.
It's again going back to football. I know we've been talking football in the past few episodes. It's like watching the Patriots win 7 fucking championships or Tom Brady win the
Yeah.
same. It
Yeah.
gets old.
It
It
gets
gets
old.
old, and you're just like, can I
Or
stop
seeing
seeing?
Alabama win the college championship year after year after year. Like, come on, when is this going to end?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the great thing, and I think that's something that again we could probably talk about this in another episode or something, man. But like America loves an underdog, man. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing truer or better. And again, that's how a lot of stories are told. It's like
Yeah.
underdogs coming in winning. But in this instances, like, in a lot of sports or even in this, like it's the big guys that are like fucking tearing everybody apart. So I was
Right.
hoping I wouldn't see that. And I mean, you did see that a little bit, but then eventually Ultron, like, Supreme Strange was able to kind of counteract and go back on that, right?
Yeah.
Which I really liked. Like again, the episode is fantastic. I liked all the characters and the dynamics. Come on now, Killmonger stealing the things for himself,
Oh, of
stealing the
course he
stones
was
for
going
himself.
to do that.
Of course he was. Come on now, like it,
Yeah.
it wasn't expected. Like and I think it's almost like he's like the Loki character in that instance, without
Kind
being a
of.
trickster
Yeah.
god, right?
He's
Where
just a dick.
he's just a dick. Like Loki's just a dick, right? Like Loki, like in his heart of hearts, he wants to be a good guy, but at the same time, he's just like, man, you give me the opportunity, I'm gonna do some fucked up shit. And again, the same
Yeah.
thing with Eric Killmonger, man. He's like he's awesome. He's gonna work with you, and help you, but
Until he gets his opening.
as soon as you turn your back on him, he's gonna fucking stick that knife in there and turn it. So,
Right.
in this instance, but I feel like you always have to have that character, right?
Yeah.
It's like when two a superhero and his villain have to team up because they have a bigger villain, right? And
Yeah.
it's like in Watchmen. I don't know if you've ever, in the movie Watchmen. I know you've seen the movie Watchmen, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do they get everybody to because again, America and Russia are pretty much at war, right? It's the Cold War
Yeah.
at this time. How do they get them to, how do they get the US and Russia and the rest of the world to come to peace and unite against each other? You have to have a common enemy, man. And so that's
Yeah.
where they like drop this giant squid or some shit like that that eventually forces them to be together. It's a whole cover up. Again,
Yeah.
that's another episode for another time. But deviating here a little bit, man, that episode was really good, right?
Yeah.
um if it was up to me, man, I would have rated it, maybe like a 9 out of 10. I
Yeah.
thought it was a really good episode. I think there's still some like maybe some follow up questions on some things that they didn't go, they didn't really answer, following up that season. But 9 out of 10. But did you want to add anything else about the episode?
No, I was satisfied with it. The whole season, actually, I was satisfied with. I know it was a good first season for this series. And I'm excited to see what they do next. Um, I mean, now we gotta wait, but what we have next from Marvel? The Eternals next month,
The
and
Eternals, and then the Hawkeye series
then
is
Hawkeye, and then Spider Man.
in
So
Spider-Man. Yeah, man. So there's some good things coming out Marvel. It doesn't. It's like don't you don't have to wait too long. They got the content
yeah,
coming. You don't have to wait like
and they put Black Widow on Disney Plus now.
they put
Like you can
Black
watch
Widow
it,
on Wednesday, man. Yeah, yesterday
and Shang
actually.
Chi will be there next month, I think.
I think you're right. Yep.
Or maybe it's
So
this month too. I don't know. Something like that.
something
Soon.
like that, man. It's coming.
I think it's
Marvel.
November.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or I think it is November. I don't think it's this month, but I think for sure November they were talking about putting it on there. So,
Yeah.
but now kind of reflecting on the season, man. What do you think were the maybe the top 3 episodes out of the entire series? And I can run
Um
them down to you, right? So we'll go with what if Captain Carter was the first episode, uh, T'Challa becomes Star Lord is the second, the world lost its mightiest heroes, right?
that was
So
when
Ant Man, or I guess
Ant Man,
Ant Man, what is it? Hank
well, he
Pym.
was the yellow jacket. Hank
Yep,
Pym
when
was
Hank,
killing all the
yeah.
Avenger
Doctor
Initiative.
Strange, episode 4, Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands.
Yep.
Number 5 was zombies. Number 6 was Killmonger rescuing Tony Stark. Number 7 was Thor, Thor were an only child, and then Ultron won, and then the final episode, episode 9. It doesn't have the title here, but I know it has a title. I think
Yeah.
it's something about the Watcher. I believe that's what the episode is called. Um,
I I would
oh,
say probably top three, and maybe not in the order that I'd say it,
yeah,
but
yeah,
top
no
three would
order.
be um, the Doctor Strange, Thor, and it's either the last one or the first one, Captain Carter, or the season finale. I really
Ooh,
wanted to like the zombies one because it's really cool that they
cool concept. Yeah,
yeah, and the comic was great, but I don't think they did enough to it. Like
yeah.
that could be like probably like a season on its own. You could do like a whole season of Marvel Zombies and start from the beginning and go all the way to the end. But
Hmm.
so maybe they'll revisit it, or maybe they'll I don't know. Maybe they'll just make a whole zombies season or something. That would be cool.
Okay, I like that, man. For me, it's kind of tough, right, to name my top three. But before I get to my top three, do you feel like the zombies episode is probably the worst episode out of the season?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was the worst. I just felt like it was lacking. Like it could use more.
Okay. So which episode would you say is the worst episode, maybe in season one?
Probably the one I didn't like the most was Killmonger, just because I didn't want to
Oh,
see. I don't think he would have been able to kill Tony Stark.
okay. I like that. I like that. For me, again, little opposite. I actually like that one. I wouldn't put that one in my top three, but I think the What If Zombies one is definitely one of the episodes where, like I said, it just was there wasn't enough. There wasn't
Yeah,
enough there. Like they had it had a lot of potential, but just
yeah,
didn't kind of play out the way that I wanted it to play out. So agree. So I kind of agree with you there that it had a lot more. But I like the Killmonger one, except the Tony Stark dying. I liked everything else about the episode except the Tony
yeah,
Stark died. Right? Like I was just like, okay, this is kind of strange. Not the best way they kind of executed that, but it's
yeah,
fine. But I really liked if Ultron won. Right? That was a really good episode. The Doctor Strange one is another one, and then. Mm, it's either between T'Challa, Star Lord, and then maybe the season finale. But I'm gonna go because the season finale is still kind of fresh. I'm gonna go with the T'Challa becoming Star Lord. I thought that one was pretty cool, and it was interesting to see kind of like you know, Thanos be friends with him.
yeah,
I was like, what the hell's going on, right? But it just kind of
right,
shows like no matter his situation, he was just that charismatic that he was gonna
yeah,
make a difference somehow. So,
yeah,
um, and so I really like that one. The Captain Carter one was a cool take. That was a really
yeah,
cool take on that man
yeah,
and how they kind of. Obviously she's female. She's awesome. She pretty much, she gets fucking yoked as the super serum after she comes out of that thing, like she's
yeah,
like petite and
yeah,
stuff, and comes out just super yoked. Looks like she did CrossFit for like 10 years or something,
right,
but that was cool, man, and like her fighting skills and stuff, and especially within this last episode, right? Whenever they're going to pick her up, like she has some awesome, like her and Natasha like uniting and fighting against like
yeah,
Ultron was awesome. There was some really cool again collaborations, and I think I love that the most about some of these, right?
yeah,
Like one of my favorite scenes in Avengers, in Endgame, right? Is it Infinity Wars? Yeah, I think it was Infinity Wars, right? Whenever they're like, it's towards the end of the film, and it's like, Doctor Strange, it's Spider Man, it's Tony Stark, and they're fighting Thanos, like on I think on Titan, right, where he's from,
yeah.
and like them kind of like kind of working together to
Coming in
try
and
to.
out and
Oh
like,
man, that's great. It's great. So I love
yeah,
seeing that kind of stuff, especially with superheroes. Like that's what you want to see, right? Like
yeah,
you develop this one individual character, you develop this other character, and then you want them to unite somehow and
yeah,
like play or fight it together and use their special abilities in every way. And it was so cool, right, to see that.
yeah,
So in this episode, you get to see that, right? And so I like when they do that, man. I'm a big fan of it.
yeah,
But yeah, those are my top three episodes. Again, that's probably my least favorite episode was the What If Zombies. Again, it still had a good potential to it, man. So I'm not, even though I say it's my least favorite, it's still not terrible. It could be a
Yeah.
lot worse, right? There was just like
Yeah.
a few things that they could have worked on, right? Cool, man. So what if, again, great to kind of talk about that. Was there anything, any final notes you want to kind of cover on What If on the seasons? I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, but anything else?
No, I think we got it all.
Okay. Is besides What If, man, was there anything else you got to watch this week?
So I watched The Many Saints of Newark. I don't know if you got to
Oh,
watch it.
I just watched it. Like literally before this episode, I was as we were sitting there and you were like, "Hey man, like I gotta get some food or whatever." I was like, "Thank God," because I got 20 minutes left in this movie.
Oh,
I want to make
nice.
sure to finish it, man. So, Many Saints in Newark, man. What were your thoughts?
I
And
I
we could
don't
talk
know.
about it. Like so, what were your initial thoughts? If you could rate it out of 10, what would you rate it? And then, what would have wanted to change?
I don't know. I think I was kind of hoping for more. I don't know. It
Okay.
just I don't think there was enough substance to tie it. I don't know. Like, and part of it is I remember when they did the flashbacks in the series and
Mm-hmm.
they showed Johnny, Tony's dad. It wasn't John Bernthal
No.
or what's it, whatever his name. So why couldn't they get the original actor? That kind of threw me off. I'm like, why is Bernthal playing the dad? He doesn't fit the hey Italian guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't fit. Like
Mhm.
he tried to do all the the mannerisms of the Italian guy and
The
the
stereotypes and
New
stuff, yeah.
Jerseyan, and I just don't think he was the right guy for that role. For
Okay.
to me, I don't know. Other people might have liked him. I mean, he's good in other things that he's been in. I enjoy him as in other stuff, but
Mhm.
not in that role for me.
Okay.
And I read a lot of people's complaints was there wasn't enough of young Tony Soprano, and from what a lot of people said, and I get it. It wasn't the point to just be about young Tony Soprano. Like he
Mhm.
was just supposed to like see where he gets like some of the stuff that he does later, where he picked it up from. So from Christopher's dad and from his own dad and from Junior and you see like the relationship forming between Junior and and Lydia. Um, and then it kind of felt. I mean, of course, it's before the Sopranos TV show, so I guess it
Yeah.
had to be kind of left open.
Mhm.
But like seeing and we're spoilers coming up for if you haven't seen this movie
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, yeah.
When Christopher, what's Christopher's dad's name? Dickie
Dicky. Yep.
Maltesanti.
Mm.
When he gets killed at the end, and then you find out it was Junior that called the hit, and then when they it goes to the credits, and then you see that mid credit scene with the guy. What was the guy's name?
Harold.
Harold, and he's just like out moving into the neighborhood. Like I was waiting for like a drive by retaliation of some sort, and nothing happens, and I'm like that wouldn't happen. Like in the
Yeah.
Sopranos universe, they would have came back on him.
Yeah.
Like Junior would have been like, oh, he wouldn't have like let on that it was him that called that hit, but
Yeah.
he would have got everyone together and they would have went after whoever he would have sent somebody else
Yeah.
after him, and then like I don't know, was there a younger Polly Walnuts in there? I don't remember seeing Polly.
Paulie was in there. He was the
His
guy. So I don't know if you remember the scene where they're in their shop and they're about to put that drill in his mouth, or
oh
the lug.
yeah,
There's
is
one
that
guy.
him in the coat?
He's just like, "Hey
He
man, I
didn't
don't want
want.
to mess up this coat." That was
So it didn't
Paulie.
seem like him though.
It did it. It a little bit. There was just a few scenes because like there's a scene when Harold comes into the bar, right? And I think
Yeah,
it's in the middle of the again, it's fresh in my mind, right? It comes in the middle of the movie where they're at the bar, and this is after again, spoilers, the dad died, right?
yeah,
And they're sitting there and he gets up and he's kind of going back and forth with Harold just a little bit. He's just like, "Yo, what are you doing here?" And so he kind of does it. Like he has a little bit of the poly, but it's
yeah.
not to the extent to the movie or the show. Not at all. But again,
And then
like you
I
said,
think,
to your point, he was so unnoticeable as not being Polly, or like he
yeah,
he pretty much did the opposite. You couldn't tell who he was.
and then I think they like try too hard to be for the actor to be what's in this Silvio.
Yeah, Silvio.
Yeah, it was just. like the actor was trying too hard to get his mannerisms, the high shoulders and the
Yeah.
cocked head. Like
Steve
it
Van
just to
Zandt.
me,
Yeah, Steve
yeah,
Van
it
Zandt, right? Yeah.
just seemed like it was like forced. I really wanted to like the movie, and I enjoyed it for what it was, but I
Yeah.
I just felt like it wasn't enough to be like part of the Sopranos universe.
I got you.
And then the
No, keep
his
going, man.
dad, so Dickie's dad, like having a twin and I don't like why? Why do you have to have that?
Yeah.
I get he's like the one that like kind of presents the moral dilemma to Dickie where he like
Hmm.
tries to shut out Tony so he doesn't get into that world.
Yeah.
And he's the one that brings it on, but his dad having a twin and it being, and it
Ray
being
Liotta.
Ray Liotta, it just, and he was like the opposite of his dad. They were like
Yeah.
complete opposites of each other. Even though the uncle was in jail, it was just I don't know. It seemed that I
So,
really really wanted to like the movie a whole lot.
hmm
For me it was like a 6 or a 7 out of 10.
um, I love your input, man. I really like your points that what you had. And I will honestly say that there's a lot of things that I'm not going to disagree with you with, right? Um, you know, one, and I hate to say this about movies because I mean maybe there are some good movies within this network, but I
Yeah,
felt like it was a Lifetime network movie.
that's what a lot of people said. I read that.
I didn't read that. I didn't read the reviews, but to me, it felt like a Lifetime Network movie.
Yeah,
And again, I'm a huge fan of mobster films,
yeah,
like Goodfellas, Once Upon a Time
yeah.
in America,
The
uh,
Godfather,
The Godfather,
Casino.
A Bronx Tale, Casino. Love, like again, Martin Scorsese, The Irishman, right? Like Martin
Yeah,
Scorsese has spoiled me, right? Francis Ford Coppola has spoiled me.
right.
In a lot of these, Bronx Tale was Robert De Niro. Like these characters have spoiled me so much on my expectations with like mobster movies. Even The Sopranos, man, like what it was in a modern day era, like mob, right? In America, expectations high. So when I went in there, man, like, I went in with pretty high expectations, especially was it David Chase, right? Who was
Yeah,
the writer and everything and helped on the film like a lot. It was a letdown. It honestly was for me like a letdown. And similar to you, I would have rated it like a 6 or 7. And and again, like you said, you're like, oh yeah, I get that it's not like people were mad that it wasn't about Tony. Here's why people were mad that it wasn't about Tony. In my opinion, this is why
because
people
he
were mad
was in all the
of the
trailers.
trailer.
Like he was
Exactly.
featured in all the trailers, and then he's on the cover art.
So it's like
And they
how
did that because it was James Gandolfini's son playing him as a younger version of him, and they knew that would draw the Sopranos fans.
yeah, but
100%.
but I think he did great. I think
Yeah.
he great. He
Yeah,
did
he was good.
phenomenal. He was
Yeah.
so good at the ending, right when he's like staring at like his Uncle Dickie, man, like making the face. I was getting chills, man. I was just like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Or whenever he was on the phone and he was trying to call Dickie and Dickie wasn't answering, and he got angry and threw that sandwich in his friend's face.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh shit. Like that's how James Gandolfini would get angry, right? Like
Yeah.
he just fucking smack you and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, right?
Or he threw the speakers out the window.
Oh man, like he was, and yeah, his voice was a little more high pitched, but even then, like it was just splitting image, man, in a lot of ways, and I think he did phenomenal. I just didn't,
Yeah.
and again, I get why people, at first I was like, I get right, and I did hear that, right, people weren't happy because like it wasn't about, you know,
Young
about
Tony.
young Tony, right? It was, I get that, right? I get that it wasn't that, and it was about Dickie, right? Which is cool, like, but it's like if you're gonna immortalize Dickie, so like Tony looked up to him, like really go out on a limb to the point where like besides a little bit of the torture scenes and besides of them like talking about like what kind of mobster things were they doing? Like I
Yeah,
was
and
really
like hardly anything was done in front of Tony. So like how would he pick up on the stuff that his uncle did?
Yeah, so like, but, they talked about it maybe rarely, and I feel like didn't talk about it enough. They talked about the family and the business, but
Yeah.
in The Sopranos, that's was really big. So I get like maybe they were hiding some of it from us because maybe Tony didn't see it all that way, but like, but they still did shit and said shit on the side. So it's just like I don't know, they didn't do enough business stuff, and like they talked about the five families, but it was so like I think they just didn't really play that up too much,
Yeah.
right? Because like I know me, man, and I'm not something I'm necessarily proud of, but like growing up, like I knew who the drug dealers were, right? And I knew like
Right.
family members or family, known associates or friends and stuff. I didn't necessarily associate with them. It was just people that were around because I was like they were dating somebody of dating somebody. So like I've been
Yeah.
around these individuals, man, or maybe again one or two of these individuals, not a lot of these people. I'm not out there selling drugs or doing drugs or anything like that, man. But just let me preface this that bad. But like I've been around a person or two before, and it's like and maybe it's just me like over, idolizing them, and I wasn't idolizing them. It was just like the way that people are like, oh, that's so and so. You don't mess with that
Yeah.
person. And you're just like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like okay, cool. Like I'm not gonna fuck with them. And the way they hold themselves, and like it's just I don't know, man. It like I would have wanted to see them kind of do the same thing, and like what I'm visualizing for like Dickie. Like if they're gonna show Dickie, yes, he dressed nice, and yes, he talked some shit, but like if they're gonna show Vicky like Dickie, not Vicky, but Dickie the way that he's supposed to be, man, let him shine. Let him talk
Yeah.
about the mob. Let him, you know, be one of the made guys or something like that, and really play into that a little bit, and maybe show something. They don't have
Yeah.
to show everything, but at least go into it, man. And there was none of that. I felt like there was
Yeah.
nothing about the mob. For a second there, I was just like, are they running legitimate businesses? Like, what's happening
Right.
right here? And then, and then, unfortunately, man, and I get it. It's an appeal for the masses, right? The love interest, like the Guma, right? Like the
Yeah.
fucking, the side woman or whatever,
Casapina, the girl that his dad brought over from Italy.
was pointless. In my
Right.
opinion, like just you added nothing to the story. Yeah, Dickie killed his dad, which was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But then he killed his side
And
piece too. Like what? I don't know, man.
yeah. Yeah, it was I don't
It was disappointing, and like you said, just like you said, I went in high expectations. I absolutely loved The Sopranos. It's a great story. Highly recommend the series to
yeah.
anybody listening. It's again, I remember reading a list one
Maybe if they
time.
would have just done this like a one season thing, like 8
Oh,
episodes,
and that's
40
another thing.
45 minutes each,
They
50
tried to
minutes
they
each.
tried to shove so much in just
Yeah.
that
They could have
2
probably
hours.
fleshed out a lot more, fleshed out all the characters. You could have got to know Dickie a little more,
And I
and
think
it probably would
and then
that
just
would have
like you
been it
said,
would have been a lot better.
yeah, just like you said, from a Dickie's perspective, like his character wasn't really developed, man. You didn't get to really see him like shine, and you know that I love that character. I like the actor. The actor was great, and
Yeah.
I agree with you with the Johnny thing. Johnny was like John Berthenol, right, or Berth, whatever his last name is, right? Like he's a he's a great actor, but it did nothing for me,
He
man.
wasn't a
Johnny,
soprano.
yeah, and I did like the story about, or I did like the scene where he like shot over her head or whatever. I thought he
Yeah.
killed her for a second,
Oh
but I
yeah, it was
think
crazy.
that's a callback to the series, right? Like I swear they talked about that in one of the episodes where
I
maybe it
can't
was
remember.
mentioned, and like maybe I think the mom like maybe like as she was talking to Tony or some shit like that, like she said something. I don't know, man. It was something like that. Oh, and then okay, Janice looked like Janice. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
sister Janice looked like Janice.
And you know what? His mom, like in this movie, kind of reminded me of Carmela from the series.
Oh, you're right.
Did it to you?
No,
Like to me, I
you
was
did.
like, this is this Carmela? Like,
No,
is
no,
this
no,
a
but that's funny though. Like it's funny that you mentioned that because it's like it's kind of like saying like, oh, you know what, like when you date people, like you date your mom
right?
or you like date your dad in an extension, and like that may sound weird, and I'm not saying people do that, but it's kind of like it kind of goes back to like basic 101 psychology where they're like, yeah, like you have like
You look for these familiar
you have like the
like
Oedipus
traits or whatever.
complex or something like that, and familiar traits, right? Like I'll never forget. I had a story from one of my history teachers, right, in high school, and he was telling us, I don't know why or what was going on, but he's like, oh yeah, sometimes like you don't realize like you're kind of more like somebody's parents than you realize. So what he was saying,
Yeah.
his wife, he said that he was like at a family barbecue or whatever, and he was sitting with her dad, right? Like he was sitting with his wife's dad, which is his father-in-law, and they were on the back porch, and like they were doing something, and like like one of them made a joke, or one of them saw a joke or something, and it was something that he thought was very funny. And so he laughed at it, and then the father-in-law laughed at it, and he was just like, it kind of like he sat there and he looked at it. He's like, "Damn, we're like drinking the same beer, we're laughing at the same jokes, we root for the same team," and he was just like, holy shit, I have more in common with this dude than I realized. And it was just like,
Right.
obviously he's a different person, right? And his personality is different from her father, but it's kind of
Yeah.
plays into that. So like Carmela,
Yeah.
just like you're saying, like her and his mom kind of being the same character a little bit. That's funny. That is funny. And
Right.
again, but he does have like mom issues though, right? Like his mom
Yeah,
drove him
yeah.
fucking crazy all the time.
Right.
So that makes it because she's nagging. She talks a lot all the time. She gets on his
And
nerves.
she plays the victim all the time.
Oh my god! Like that scene whenever she makes him a hamburger, and
Yeah, with the pills.
yeah, like everything is going good, and all of a sudden she turns, she's like, "Are you smoking weed?" He's just like, "When did we get on the topic of us like, you know,
Right.
smoking weed?" Like I thought we were having a great conversations about like mental health issues and stuff, right? And everything like that. Which man kind of sucked at the end whenever they found his body and he had like a
The
pocket full
pills
of
for
those
the
pills. But I
yeah.
wonder, were they for him
I
or
think
were they
he
for his
got them
mom?
for Tony to give to Tony
I know,
to
but
give
no,
to his
no, no, no.
mom.
You're right. You're right. But like, were the pills for Tony or were they for his mom? Like, I think Tony was asking for them for himself.
Oh, I thought he was asking for him for his mom
Like, I think
because
he
she
would.
said she wouldn't get him for her, like she wouldn't get him herself from the doctor because
No,
you're
no,
not
no,
supposed to take pills or whatever.
no, no, no. Yeah, and I agree. But I for a second, like I don't know, because like eventually, like he develops like anxiety and he sees a psychologist and
Yeah.
stuff later on. So for me, I thought he was asking for his mom for himself. Because
Huh.
obviously
Could
you don't,
be.
because they're like in that again, mental health is always kind of like taboo to talk about. So like I don't know if he would have went to his uncle and been like, "Hey man, like, can you help me out because
Yeah.
like, I'm like struggling." And his uncle would have been like, "Hey bro," like he would have smacked him in the head and been like, "Get your head right," or
All
something
right.
like that. So I don't know. In my opinion, because like the way that he was looking at the pamphlet, like Tony kept looking at the pamphlet and he was kind of reading it. I think that it applied to him, right?
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. And again, that's just my speculation. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it and stuff. But I was just kind of like, I was intrigued. I was just like, man, I wonder if these pills were for him or if they were for like, you know, his mom, right? And again, if they were for
Right.
his mom, cool, right? And she took them or whatever. But I think they were for Tony. I think that whatever Tony was
Could
dealing with,
be.
like he could have been like, oh, I need this, and was probably going to take some for himself. So,
Yeah.
but why did Junior kill him? Did you catch that? Because the only thing that I could ever put to like I was thinking about it, right, and maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. Is like whenever he fell and he hit his back, and
Because
then
he was laughing at him or
like
joking
Dickie
at him.
was was like laughing at him and didn't take him serious. Is that like why did he kill him? And
Yeah.
like at the end, like when Leslie Odom's character had like all that money and he moved into the neighborhood, was he in on it? Was he making the family money? Was was their relationship with Harold more lucrative than what Dickie was like? Because it's like one of those things. It's like, oh, this dude has an issue with this one. This was
Well,
making us money. I don't know. Like I was
wasn't
trying.
he
I couldn't
like when he
remember.
went to meet that guy,
Hmm.
that with the horse place, whatever.
That was Frank Lucas, right? Which is the
So
famous, which
yeah,
is a famous
so
drug
he was
dealer in real
there to
life,
meet
right?
to get line into selling drugs in Newark,
Yeah,
and then Junior's crew in the Soprano series sells drugs in Newark.
that's right.
So he was using Harold, or that's the name, right? Harold,
Yep,
to get his line to George to
Frank Lucas.
Frank Lucas for the heroin, so he could sell in Newark.
Oh shit! But again, I know, and
And
so it
and
makes me
then
think because I don't
and
think
then
that's how they didn't make their money that way though. They made their money off of racket, like the Italians. The Italians made their money through
yeah,
racketeering, and
yeah,
I
and
know
they
again.
frowned on the drug trade.
So I
But
wonder if
Junior was selling in The
yeah.
Sopranos.
So it makes me think if
Well, not him personally, but his crew.
yeah, yeah. So it makes me think like if he was like he always knew that it was lucrative in the future.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or and like again, maybe it
and
was one of the things that
he just kept it to himself
and
between
like
him and his
and
crew,
Dick
and
yeah, and Dickie would have been that person to like maybe tell them to stop or something like that and be like,
yeah,
we need to get out of that business. But Harold was all about it. So I don't know. Again, a lot of unanswered questions, at least for me. Maybe I need to go back and they're answered there. But I was just like, what is going on right here? Like, why did Junior kill him just because of that? But it also showed me, I was like, damn, Junior's that much more vicious than we thought. Like
yeah,
yeah, in the series, and in the series, I mean, my voice just fucking got really high there. In the series, um, you see that you see a little bit of that, right? He's kind of,
yeah,
but he's also like, what is he? I think they kind of mentioned in the series, don't they say like he's like a made guy or he's like one of the bosses or something like? Isn't he something like that? Because I know they kind of talk about like they talk about like that he's respected, but he's not respected. Like they don't touch him because whatever he's like protected somehow.
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
remember. I got to go back and watch it, but I know he was like an important person. But I know like Janice would always like try to put her nose in. He's like, oh well, he's a
Yeah.
he's this person or whatever, like
Yeah.
And I remember she said some crazy shit, and Tony was like, he's like slapped the shit out of her or something, right? But
Yeah.
oh man, it was wild. But yeah, no, like I thought it was cool that they played homage to a lot of the classic characters like your Sills, your Pollys and stuff, but they didn't, man, just like you said, you couldn't tell who the fuck
Yeah.
who was who, right? So, of course, they had Pussy in there, which I was like, oh, okay, there
Yeah.
he is.
Who was the person with the wig?
I
The
couldn't,
hairpiece.
I fucking don't know, don't know.
Wasn't Ralphie, was it?
No, I don't think so.
Because Ralphie had a hairpiece.
He did have a hair priest. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can kind of like uh look this up
Who is
really
it that
quickly.
I can't think of the actor's name that plays Ralphie in the series?
The guy who plays Ralphie in the series is the same guy who's a police captain in Bad Boys. I can't remember his real name
Yeah.
though.
And he was in Matrix. He was one that sold
Oh
everybody out in the
yeah, yeah. He
Matrix.
sold everybody out because he just wanted to eat steak or some shit.
Yeah.
So there's Frank Lucas. Wait, what the fuck? Wait, who's this?
But wasn't Ralphie like Tony's age? Weren't they like close when they were growing up?
You said who? You said Ralphie? Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe so.
Like when they talk about it, when
hmm
they so it could have been him.
I'm trying to see who the character was. Michael Imperioli. Harold, of course, was Leslie Odom Jr. Who was the fucking not Dickie, not Junior. Junior Silvio wasn't the same thing. Who was the fucking guy? I don't know. I can't remember that. I remember them saying his name, but whoever it was, like you said, it was the guy that kept like his hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who the hair
Because
guy
when he
was.
was shooting, like the hair flipped the wrong way, and you can see his bald head.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember who that character was.
Yeah, me neither.
I like that Joey Diaz. You know who Joey Diaz is?
Sounds familiar.
Joey Diaz. He was Buddha. He was a fat guy who was just like, oh man, I'll eat your wife's like. He's like, I'd eat that woman's shit. And then Dickie's like slapping him around, and then all of a sudden he gets shot in the head. Because
Oh,
that's whenever Harold and his crew come in and they start shooting him with the shotguns and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But that's Joey Diaz. I've seen him a few times, like on he's been in a bunch of movies. Um, but I've also seen him on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he's fucking hilarious on there, man. Anytime he shows up, man, I try to watch an episode with him. But yeah, I don't know. They're not showing any of the characters on here, or like at least on the maybe I should check like IMBD or something like that and see if they show more people. But I can't remember who he was. They did say his name, and I was like, "Who is this fucking guy?" And then like, I see, there's Hollywood Dick, which is Ray Liotta, right? Polly. There's that guy, not Cyril. I don't know. I guess that's just the top cast. I really wish I would have known who the guy was. This is fucking hilarious.
And then they also didn't show Hesh. Like they mentioned him, but they didn't show him.
Yeah, you know who else I mentioned? Carmine. And they didn't show
Yeah.
Carmine. Drummer, guitarist. I don't know why he's not like a top character. He was in a lot of scenes. Um, I don't know, man. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm trying to look it up right now and I can't see. But anyways, man, yeah, it wasn't that great. Like I was a little disappointed in a lot of ways, man, in how they did it. I thought it was interesting when they showed like the ice cream truck thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, what is this about? I was like, why are they stealing this really quickly and just kind of running off or whatever? Um, so that was interesting. I don't know. But yeah, man, it was. I thought it had a lot more. There was a lot more to it. But it wasn't what I thought it would be. Right. So,
Yeah.
um, another kind of switching gears here, and I know that's like my common phrase. I'm sorry, we should probably put that on a t-shirt or something.
Switching
But
gears.
switching gears, but kind of changing the subject here, man. There is a very, very popular show on Netflix right now. Have you seen
Squid
this
Game.
popular show? And I know it. There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
Have you
I
watched it?
haven't
Have you?
watched it. I watched the trailer, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
I might have to check out an episode tonight.
All right, so I started part of an episode. Apparently, like I try to watch it in subtitles. People tell me you can watch it dubbed, like there's an English version of it. Obviously,
Yeah.
sometimes the translation isn't really well, and there's two different forms of like English subtitles. One that they say is more accurate than the other. I have no idea, but kind of. Do you know the premise of this of the series?
So it's like a game show, but yeah, I mean, they actually kill the people. If you don't win, you die.
Pretty much, right? So there's like hundreds of cash that contestants kind of accept in an or accept an invitation to complete like to compete in children's games for like a tempting prize. But and I think it's like billions of dollars, right? It's like
Yeah.
$40 billion or something like that, right? To erase a bunch of people's debt and stuff, which is one of the
Yeah.
reasons why they like join it and play the games and stuff. So, is there a childhood game that you feel kind of going on this on the topic, right? Is there a childhood game that you feel that you would win some of this money and not die?
um, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe some hide and seek.
You said maybe some hide and seek. Okay.
But like if they find you, they just execute you on the spot. Like I found you, pow.
It's like you're dead, Bob. Um, for me, if it
Or
wasn't,
some red rover, but it's like razor wire.
oh shit, you run through the thing, it fucks you up. I don't know if I don't know if this is the game, but I just want to do it. Is whenever they get that giant umbrella thing, it's like a blanket
Oh,
and it's like
the
colored
parachute,
parachute thing. That's what I would
the
want to
rainbow
do.
parachute.
I don't even know how you play that game or if it was a game. I just remember we would fucking like throw it up and come back down and just do it
When
like
the
that.
in the trailer, isn't the first game they show is like the red light, green light, stop, or
Yes.
the turn around and green light go, turn around, red light stop. But if you don't stop, you get shot.
Yes. Exactly. You're like red light, green light. So we played some of that at work. Like we like at work we were like, all right, like we're gonna play red light, green light and stuff. Um, but it was so easy because again, people are older, so they know when to stop and when to go and stuff. So I'm like, red light, they stop, green light, they go, right? And yeah, maybe
Yeah.
like one person will stop, but then they might move or something like that as they stop. But I started throwing out colors and shit, so I was like, green light, red light, and they stop, and I'd be like, blue 42, Blue
See if they
42, and
flinch.
just give it on. I'm just like, yeah, and they like flinch and like I got some people out like that and stuff like that, but I just kept throwing like I was like Omaha, Omaha, just throwing just random like saying random shit, man. I was a quarterback up there as they were playing red light, green light, man. But no, for me, I would love to play tag. I think I'd be pretty good at tag or
Some
like
freeze tag
dodgeball, like freeze tag or like dodgeball or something. But I
or
I
some
feel
kill
like
the carrier.
man, if they played freeze tag, you die if they touch you. Like that,
Right.
you're not freezing, you're fucking dead. So dodgeball would be pretty fun, man. Or back in the day, that one game that we used to play. It's like you sit on this thing and it has wheels. Remember, and you hit to like scoot yourself. I know you know what I'm talking about. We used to have like they used to be like these little scooters type of things, right? But they were like they had seats on them and they had tires on them and they were like this far from the ground and like the tires were bullshit. Look this up, man. It was a game we used to
It
play in
sounds like
PE.
I don't remember a game like that. I remember there was like a toy. I guess it would be a toy because like a big wheel's a toy, but
Hmm.
like it was plastic, but it had metal bars that came out, and you sat like your feet touched the metal bars. But you had to move the bars back and forth to get motion going.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, that's a really fun game too. Um, but no, the one I'm thinking of is like it was like the most it was bullshit because it
Yeah.
was like this little platform. It was like a square platform, and again, it had little tires on it, man. And the thing was so small, and we sit on it, and we'd play across the whole gym, and we just kind of push each other around. You would smash the shit out of your fingers. You'd
Oof.
fall, you'd fall over, man, because like sometimes the tires would like things, whatever. As you pushed yourself, you had your hands on the side, and I think you're supposed to
Yeah.
play like you couldn't use your arms or something, but you had to like either bump into people or you had to like get a ball and like try to hit them like dodgeball style or something like that. I can't remember, man. Like it was a wild game. Like I know there's some
Yeah.
people that probably know what I'm talking about. You have to Google this shit, but we had these little paddleboard things. I'm gonna send you a picture of this shit at some point and show you, man. But these little paddle, like again, they were like these little. It's just like a small platform, man, and you
Yeah.
just your butt will probably be able to the only thing that be able to fit on it, and it had these small ass tires, and it was probably like an inch off the ground, and you would just fucking get on that thing and go. And those things were fast. They weren't stable, but they were really fast, man. So maybe that game I'd be okay at. Or maybe like
Yeah,
football or some shit like that. Even though I'm slow as shit, I'd lose the first round, but it's fine. Throw me on the
yeah. I
team. We're
thought
getting after it.
I'll probably watch an episode tonight after this.
I was like, try some Squid Games, man, and then we'll, we could talk about that a little bit more. Or watch the episode. I
Yeah.
will say I started a series yesterday. Was it no? Was it today? There was a series I started today. You may know it. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. But it's called Invincible. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah.
Of course you know what it is, man. You're the one who
I
were
was
like,
like,
dude,
wait,
fucking
what?
watch it. You're like, dude, fucking watch it.
Yeah.
So I watched the first episode, right? And I was like, oh, this is cute. This is wholesome. Like, this is really nice, right? Um, wait, wait. And so like I was watching it. It was like him and his dad. He hit puberty. He got his powers. He got punched in the face. He's flying. He couldn't land. And I was like, oh, cool. Like they're gonna get it right. And then at the very end, of the episode, like he's on, and he goes back to the tailor or whatever the guy's name is, right? Or I would call him a tailor, and he gets like his suit, and he's like in the air. He's like, "Ah, right, I'm gonna be." And again, of course, he never says it, or at least he doesn't
Yeah.
say it because he goes straight to the credits, right? And it was
Yeah.
just like, oh, created by Robert Kirkman and stuff. And I was like, oh shit, same guy did Walking Dead and stuff, right? And it's going through that, and then boom, all the previous heroes that were in the first, again, spoilers, people, if you haven't seen this, all the superheroes that they're opening in the opening of the episode are all being called back to their fucking
To like the headquarters or
to the
whatever.
headquarters, right? And then they get there and they're just like, wait, who called us? They're like, you called me. They're like, no, you called me. And then Omni Man is there. And they're just like, then that's when and again, I knew something was up because whenever he came in and he helped out, everybody was just like, "Oh, you're here? Like, what the like?
Right.
Why are you here? Like, of all people, like,
Right.
what are you doing here, right?" Which was kind of odd. I was just like, "So is he not a member? Like, what's going on here, right?" And then he goes back, he shows up. People are like, "What are you doing here?" And he starts beating the fuck out of everybody. Right? Doesn't kill anybody yet. They're all beating the shit out of each other, right? Nobody dies just yet. And then the equivalent of the Flash character, I don't remember his name, right?
Yeah.
He gets him by his fucking head and
And
fucking
pops it.
smashes it.
You see that eyeball go flying?
Shit just, and I'm like, did this dude just fucking kill this guy? But here's the thing though, that like threw me off was like all those other characters or the characters that they fought at the beginning, I felt like they were strong and they were punching them and shit like that, right? And they were fighting them. But why is Omni Man like that much stronger? Again, I'm sure I'll find out more, right? But it was
Yeah.
just I
Yeah.
was just sitting there like
Yeah.
I was just
You have to keep watching
I was
to
like,
find
how
out.
did this motherfucker like punch through somebody, but like those guys couldn't get bullets shot at them? Like, how much more stronger is this guy compared to all these
Right.
other characters? I don't know, man. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
Why are people's fucking like did he just I was like the fish guy. Did he just fucking side punch the fish guy and his head explode and his guts were all on the floor and shit? Like what the fuck? He like the other guy, that one guy with the beard or whatever, he fucking punched through him and shit, and the dude was like sitting there and he just saw like, you know what? Chop. And chopped his head. He made the knife thing with his hand and chopped his head. I was like, the fuck is this, man? Crazy. So, but
Yeah.
as I thought the episode was over, so I thought it was continuing into the next episode, but it was still episode one, and then it finally ended, and I was like, the fuck did I just watch, Derek? Holy shit, man! I don't want to watch this anymore. I'm just kidding. I was like, I want to watch more. So yeah, I just started it, man. I can't wait to kind of talk more about it in the coming episodes of our podcast. But it was
Yeah.
awesome. It was awesome, man. Yeah, it was great. So highly
I
recommend
can't.
out
I
there.
think they didn't they wrap on season 3 of The Boys.
They did. Yes,
I
yes. I saw some like a clip
I
or something
can't
like that.
wait for the next season of The Boys. I love
Oh,
that show.
that
That's
show. Oh
it's an
man.
awesome show.
Oh man. There were some fucking plot twists and shit in that series, man, that really
Yeah.
like threw me off, right? Like the way that
Yeah.
season 1 ended, and then season 2 wasn't as good as season 1, but it was still damn good, man.
The very last shot of season 2.
What the
Homelander's just a
Yeah, I was like,
douchebag.
can you explain that to me, Derek? Do you
I
just
don't know,
did you
man.
just randomly just power up and just want to go on top of your your house and fucking yank it?
Rub one out.
Just want to rub one out at the top?
Trying to see how many people you can hit from the top of that building.
It's fine. You can tell me if you hear there's a woman in your life where you just suck her nipples. You don't do anything sexually with her. You just suck her nipples, and that helps you.
You imagine if someone's just walking by on the street below and they get hit by some goop, like, the hell was that?
They're gonna die. It reminds me of again. I know we talk about Family Guy a lot, but there's like an episode where like it's like a cutscene, and it's like a bed, and it's like fucking destroyed. Like
Yeah.
there's like an imprint of a body that was once there, and the bed is just like destroyed or whatever, right? And there's like white stuff all over the wall, and the police are asking Superman, and they're just like, "So what happened?" He's just like,
Oh yeah.
and he's like, "I don't know. It was like my first time, or something like that." It was something
Yeah.
wild where it's like, and it makes sense. It's like if this dude could fucking spit, 1,000 miles per hour if he wanted to, where do you, how fast do you think that's coming out?
Right.
And you can't control that shit. You can't slow that down, dude.
Right.
Honest question. Again, this is fucked up. We shouldn't be talking about this on podcast, but can you control it, Derek? Can
No.
you control the speed? Nobody fucking can, man. So he'd kill people anyways, man. So yeah, it wouldn't be, oh, what the fuck is that? It'd be like fucking brick hitting the guy and knocking him the fuck out, man. That's what it would be. It'd just be a dude fucking getting knocked the fuck out because some stuff hit him in the head, man. But whatever. You get where I'm coming from. But yeah, Boys season 3 is coming out. I think they did like a teaser or something. If it wasn't a teaser, they definitely
They
like.
did like that news thing. It was like a news broadcast,
Mhm. It was a
like in
news
universe.
broadcast, and then I saw like them like they showed some photos, and I think there were some videos of them being like they were like, oh yeah, we're done with season 3 and stuff, right? So they did something, right? Yeah, I don't remember what it was,
Yeah.
but I remember they did something to show that it was coming up, right? So um
Well, speaking of other things coming up, there's a couple of trailers that came out this week that I don't know if you
ooh
saw.
ooh, I did see one of them. If there's one of them you're
So
talking
one
about,
came out today, and the other
okay,
one came out either Wednesday or Tuesday. I want to say
all right. What was the Wednesday Tuesday trailer? And I may have missed it. And I'm gonna kick myself because I didn't watch it.
Game of Thrones, House of Dragons.
I know the quote, right? I know the quote of the, and I think it's something that's like, it's like we didn't dream to be, or it wasn't our dreams that made us kings. It was dragons,
Dragons,
or
yeah,
something like that. Like I saw the
yeah,
quote.
something like that.
I just didn't watch the trailer, man. So you're fucking hate me. But either way, like I'm gonna watch it as soon as this is done. Watch that trailer. Super pumped, man. This is 500 years
Yeah,
before. I think I may have mentioned this on a podcast before. If I didn't, I was at this con, and at this con, there was like this. It was like a symposium or whatever you want to call it, right? Like a Q&A or something, or panel. It was a panel, and
panel.
it was a panel, and it was just one random guy, and he went up and he gave you the entire history of Game of Thrones. Like that's
Dang,
all he covered it, man. And he deep dove into the Targaryens. It is insane. Their storyline is no, it's insane, but it is awesome, man. Like,
yeah,
and I think you and I were talking about this before, the budget, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know if it was you and I, but like the budget on the dragons, it's supposed to be like significantly a lot more. Where before
yeah,
it was like, oh yeah, we'll show the dragons for like 2 minutes, and then that's it, and they showed us
yeah,
people or whatever. But the budget was increased for that. But they have to, man. Like this is our
yeah,
Targaryens, the fucking dragons, man. You know what? One of these episodes, man, we'll just kind of go over the history of the Targaryens. What do you say with that? I can come up with the
yeah,
information and I can give you a quick rundown and a quick history of the Targaryens and kind of just a little bit of their storyline and stuff like that. It is awesome. It is
yeah,
like first it's like them getting them, and then they fucking take over everything, and just like any mobster movie you've ever watched, family starts pissing you off, and you're like, you know what? My wife is talking too much. Someone needs to murder her, and then she dies, and that's literally what happens, or maybe not literally, but like something like that happens. It's like brothers, sisters, cousins, uncles, like they're just like, we're tired of your shit, you're fucking dying. And so yeah, man, I'll come up and see if I can give you guys like a quick, just a quick snippet history of the Targaryens and kind of what's that all about, man. It is awesome. The other trailer that released today,
Resident Evil. Welcome
Resident
to
Evil
Raccoon City.
Raccoon City. Um, Derek, if you will give us, as best as your knowledge can do you justice here, can you give us a quick recap on some Resident Evil history? Just maybe
So
just a premise
this,
of it a little bit.
so there's an evil corporation, the Umbrella Corporation.
Hmm.
They specialize in bioweaponry.
Yep. Is that what it
One of
was?
the,
I
yeah,
never understood. Like I thought it was like
yeah.
they accidentally did that. I didn't know if it
Well,
was
of
like,
course, that was like what they told the
oh, the
media
public.
or the public was it was an accident. But
Okay.
yeah, they specialize in bioweaponry. So the T virus, the I don't know how many viruses
Yeah,
there are.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the first virus, I think, is the T virus, right? It
I
turns
can't
people
remember.
into zombies.
Hmm.
So this movie is going to cover Resident Evil One, the game, and Resident Evil Two, the game.
Oh shit.
So I mean, you probably saw at least one classic scene in
Hmm.
the movie that was from the first game.
One was the if I well, I don't know if it was in the first game, but I know like there were some scenes that I remember, right? Like obviously the Dobermans are back, right?
Yeah.
I remember the
So that
dogs.
the garage scene is Resident Evil Two in
Okay.
the garage of
The
the
18 wheeler burning into that like
yeah
restaurant or something like that. I
yeah.
remember that too.
So when they're walking down that hallway and you see someone crouched over another person and then he slowly turns his head and it's a zombie. So that's
Yeah.
straight from Resident Evil One, the game.
Oh yeah, that's right.
When you
I
first see the zombie, the first time you see a zombie in the
it's
game.
oh that's awesome. That's a cool callback. That's a cool callback.
So yeah, and like I watched like after I watched the trailer, I read, comments on YouTube and people were complaining like, "Oh, the name some of the characters don't look like the characters in the game and blah blah blah." But and like they were complaining about Claire, like she's not it's not like her story doesn't match her story from the game.
Hmm.
So a lot of people were saying it looks like a should be a direct to TV movie. Like you said, the CGI looks bad. To me, I think it all looked fine.
It looked good to me. Yeah. And I watched it in like 4K and I was just like this shit looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Like to me, this looks 100 times better than the ones with Mila Jovovich. Like
Yeah.
nothing against her; she's a great actress.
Yeah.
Multi Dallas Corbin Dallas multi pass. I love her characters that she plays, but those movies they got so far off track. It's like the Michael Bay Transformers series got so far off track from the
Yeah.
base, source material that it just like went out into left field and never came back. Like,
Yeah.
completely left the universe and you never saw it again.
No, I
But
agree.
this looks so much more like the source material. Um, I'm super excited for this. I'm excited for it, definitely.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. Yeah, I appreciate giving a quick recap, right, of just kind of like the premise of what Resident Evil is. Playing the games. I think I told you in a few episodes previously with in the podcast, like I played some of the games. I knew the basis of the storyline, right? Like there was some virus, it got released, and it was they tried to quarantine the city, and it just like, made people into animals, right, and monsters or
Yeah,
whatever you want to call them.
yeah,
Um, and it's them trying to kind of maneuver themselves within the city and um, take maneuver themselves within the city and try to like find the resources to survive, right? And they're hoping
yeah,
to kind of escape somehow. The helicopter scene, that's from season two, right? Or sorry, not season two. That's from the second game, the first game. Because remember the helicopter in the film, like it's all of them on the
yeah. It crashes
helicopter.
into the. I know in the
Well,
first
the
game.
crashes, and then I think there's like one crashes, and then the other one like I remember one of the movie or one of the games. I keep calling it movies, but one of the games where they like the helicopter comes and picks them up,
Yeah,
and that's kind of like the end of the game.
I
Or if
think that
not, it's
might have
like the
been
beginning of the
one.
game, or it's in the middle of the game, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. It's been so long since I played the first one,
Yeah, I did
and
recognize.
there's no way I would try to go back and play it now. Unless it gets a ground from the ground up remaster like they did 2 and 3 on
Yeah,
PS4. That's the only way I'd play one again.
I know. I mean, I agree, man. It's just it doesn't hold up as well, right? Like
Yeah,
maybe I go back and watch somebody else play it, but I don't know if I would play it, right?
yeah,
I did see some pretty cool. I think was it Neo Dono, which is the guy with like the blonde hair and like the very bright blue eyes or whatever.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's a character in it. Another one that I recognize, which is from Umbrella Academy, actually, is Tom Hopper. He's the guy who's I think he's like number 5 or something like that. No, he's not number
Hmm.
5. He's one of the characters that oh no, I think he might be number 1. I think he's considered number 1, but he's the one who's like mixed with Monkey. Spoilers.
Oh,
Yeah. So that guy is gonna be in the Resident Evil one. So like he's somebody that I saw him on screen. I was like, oh shit, is that guy from Umbrella Academy? And sure enough, like I googled him and he's in there. So and I don't think they necessarily have to look exactly like the characters, right? Like yeah,
yeah,
um the Uncharted series, like yeah, does Tom Holland look like Nathan Drake? Not necessarily, but like, does it mean that it's going to be less of a like the story's not going to be good and the action
yeah,
scenes are going to be any less? Like, no, man, they're still going to be pretty damn
yeah,
good characters, right? So,
yeah. And then another thing that was released this week was just a couple pictures. I don't know if you saw them from Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
oh no, I didn't know that they released photos of that. I know you and I
So
were
it's just
talking
two
about that.
photos.
Yeah.
So one photo shows Optimus Prime, and they're in vehicle form. Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, RC. I want to say, I can't remember who the other. So Porsche. I think that might be. Yeah, I can't think of it. And then there's a Volkswagen van. So maybe that's. I don't know who that would be either. And
Yeah.
then they show three other vehicles, so like a big giant 18 wheeler wrecker kind of looking thing.
Okay.
And it's all black or grayish, something like that. Another
Damn.
wrecker, like a GMC old style wrecker,
Yeah.
and then a Skyline, like a R34 Skyline. So those are supposed to be
Oh.
three Decepticons.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. I know that I think you maybe mentioned it, or maybe I know a few people that they're not huge fans of the Transformers Beast.
Yeah,
I am. That was kind of the one that I grew up on as a kid. Like I like the classic one, but at the same time, like I remember I watched that one a lot, right?
yeah.
And I remember I tried to go back and rewatch it, and the graphic is just so bad.
Oh,
It's
from
so
G1, the
yeah,
original
yeah,
cartoon.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I tried to go back and rewatch it, and I was just like, this is so bad. I just couldn't get back into it. But as a kid, man, it looked all realistic. You know how it is, man. Your imagination is a little bit better back then. So, um, but no, man, I'm excited for that. I didn't know that they released images. I'm gonna again after this podcast, I'm gonna go look those up, man, and check those out.
yeah. So like, and I saw a video a couple weeks ago showing um Optimus Prime in vehicle form driving down the roads. Like someone caught a photo or like a video of him on their phone or whatever.
Oh, damn,
So
that's
yeah,
really sick, man.
and they're all these are more based on the G1 version. So it's like this is a direct follow up to the Bumblebee movie, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see that also.
Yeah, man. So am I. Again, like I said, Beast is probably my favorite one. Even though, again, I know a lot of people weren't like it wasn't their
Yeah,
favorites, but it's definitely one of my favorites.
I wasn't a
Uh,
fan of the Beast Wars,
you said you weren't fan. Yeah, I mean, again, like I think you
but
mentioned this
the,
before.
the animation just looks like crap to me.
Oh, it's so bad. Again, I went back to try to watch it, man. It was so bad. So hopefully they do this justice. Um, I know before we've been on here for an hour now, Derek. Was there anything else you wanted to cover, man, before we start wrapping things up?
um, no, I mean baseball playoffs started.
Yes,
Yankees are
I
already
did.
out. Whatever.
It's all right, man. You got next year, man. Stay positive. Stay positive.
They need to make some moves, but yeah, I think National League's going to win it this year. I'm calling it right now. National
All
League's going
right.
to win again.
What's the team? What team you're going for, man? Or not going for, but which team are you calling that they're probably going to take it?
I think whoever wins the Dodgers and Giants series is going to win the World Series.
Okay. Hopefully, in a few weeks from now, we can come back to episode 21 and be like, "You were right," and we can just clap you up. And you're Nostradamus. We're gonna start betting money on these things and get really rich. If you're wrong, we're going to boo you. I'm just letting you know now. I'm just kidding.
Oh, and some football started just a little bit ago, didn't it?
Football did start, man.
Rams and Seahawks.
Rams and Seahawks, which should be a really good game. I always love
Yeah,
watching the NFC West, man. I know we've talked about this in the past two podcasts, but it's one of the it is the toughest
is the
division.
toughest.
Is the toughest division right now, right? Just kind of go over some scores from last week. We had the Bengals and Jaguars. That was a really good game on Thursday.
Yeah,
Uh, Washington and the Falcons. Washington, I don't know, they're pulling it out, man. It's interesting to
yeah.
see them or see what they're doing. Oh yeah, this game we're not gonna talk about it. Bills beat the Texans 40-0. Lions and the Bears, man.
Yo, lit up.
You said what?
They got lit up.
They got lit up. Lions and Bears, man. Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my. So the Lions and Bears, it was 14-24. Bears won the game, man. Justin Fields had a really solid game that game.
Yeah.
Lions are 0-4. Those poor guys. Panthers and Cowboys. I did not see that coming. Did you see that coming? Panthers were
No.
3-0 going into Dallas, and I mean, I hate to give them credit, man, but the Cowboys look good.
Yeah.
Their
But
defenses come around, man.
September, September, October is always like that. Just
And
wait
in
till
December,
November, December.
yeah, there it is. That's what I keep telling them. Colts and Dolphins. Carson Wentz gets his first win of the season with the Colts, right, with the new team.
Yeah.
Dolphins, I think they're still suffering with some injuries there. Browns and Vikings. Browns beat the Vikings 14-7. That was a low scoring game. There was a lot of bad weather, over
Yeah.
the weekend.
Yeah.
Giants and Saints. Giants got the first win of the season, beating the Saints 27-21.
That
That
was
was a really
surprising
good game.
too.
Yeah, that was a really good game. Daniel Jones, man, he has a lot of potential. I don't know what the
Yeah.
Giants need to do to kind of help him to win, but he had really solid. Really, he's a really solid quarterback. Titans and Jets. Jets get their first win of the season.
Right.
So that was interesting. What's this? Derrick Henry is a monster. Like 157 carries. I saw him just trucking over people, man. Like a
Yeah.
beast. Chiefs and Eagles. The Eagles 30 points. Chiefs 42. They Chiefs need to get together. They're in for a lot of a lot of
A long
competition here.
season.
A long season, correct. Cardinals and Rams. That was surprising. I thought the
Yeah.
Rams were at least going to put somewhat of a fight.
Yeah.
Cardinals won 37-20. And I'll ask you this question: is Kyler Murray the truth right now? Right? Like, is he living up to his hype?
Um, I mean, I think just like any of these other, the Russell Wilsons, the Lamar Jacksons, after a while, the defense are going to figure them out.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be able to sustain forever. And
Yeah.
and I think the same thing will eventually happen with, some of these defenses. They'll start figuring him out also.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think they did. I think he had a lot of potential. I don't know. I'm gonna keep my eye on him. I don't know if I want to
yeah,
give him the credit and be like, yeah, he's a top tier quarterback, like, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, even like you said, Russell Wilson. I still think Russell Wilson is still a solid quarterback. I mean, he won a Super Bowl, right? And maybe it
yeah,
was his defense, but I still think that he's a solid quarterback. He's still always in that conversation. But is he an Aaron Rodgers type quarterback? Like Kyler Murray, is he an Aaron Rodgers type quarterback? I don't know if I'm ready to crown him just yet.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? So Aaron Rodgers is just that man is just something else. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter who you put him. Like, put him with any kind of receiver, right? And he's gonna still try to get them the ball. He's gonna put them in their hands, whether they catch it or not. That's up
yeah.
to them.
That's on them.
Seahawks and 49ers. That was a really solid game. Obviously, the Seahawks pulled that one out.
Yeah,
Uh, Ravens and Broncos. Broncos got their first loss against the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, he looked good that game, but
yeah.
he can't just run it all the time by himself.
Right. Yeah,
I think I
not gonna
saw.
happen.
I don't know if me and you talked about it, but there was a statistic that was like it showed the top three rushers of the league, like so far, and he was like consistently in the top five. It was like running back, Lamar Jackson, running back.
Right.
Steelers and Packers, man. I don't know what's up with Ben Roethlisberger. People
Yeah.
keep saying he's looking older and older. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's time for him to hang it up.
Yeah. I
Uh,
think it definitely is.
Yeah, Buccaneers and Patriots. The prodigal son returns, beats his old team. That was a close game. That was a
Yeah.
really, really, really close game, man. So it would have been interesting to see that. Or it would have been interesting if we had a loss, but that field goal, if it was raining, they would have definitely made that field goal, and they would have seen Brady try to drive down. And then the Monday night game was an interesting one. There was a lightning delay in that one, which is ironic because it's the Chargers and they have lightning bolts on their helmets. But it was a
Right.
Raiders Chargers game. I thought the Raiders they did not look good, but Justin Herbert is showing me some
That dude
things,
might
man.
be the truth.
That dude might be the truth. That he might be a player where I'm all like, give him the crown right now. Like he's in conversation for that elite level kind of
Yeah.
quarterback, right? Like
Yeah.
the fact that he found out like 30 minutes before the game started that he was going to start because Tyrod Taylor's lungs were punctured last season. Like he was like, well, time to nut up or shut up, man. And he
Right.
he showed up. He showed up. I mean,
Right.
look, listen. Like his statistics were 25 of 38, 222 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's bananas. That's bananas, man.
Yeah.
So, but that's our football recap. I know we just kind of touched on a few things here or there. I know there's a few other things. We're gonna watch the James Bond movie. hopefully before the next podcast. I know I said I
Yeah,
was going to watch Venom. I didn't, but the goal is to watch Venom tomorrow. So I will have an update on that. Apparently, there is a huge spoiler at the end in the credits. I didn't
that's what
see
I
it. I
heard
don't know
too.
what it is, but
I
people
heard
are
I did like I didn't try to read into it. I didn't
hell
try to
no.
look it up. I just
Hell
like
no.
heard there was.
I'm
Yeah.
just going in there blind, man, but I just heard there's a
It's
huge
probably gonna be Tom
spoiler.
Holland.
More than likely. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. So we'll see what it is. But Derek, if you'd like to close us out, man.
All right. Seems like we got through a whole bunch today. I want to thank everyone that listened, everyone that watched on YouTube, all of our return listeners. Thanks for coming back. Any first time listeners, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you come back next week and hope you go back and look at the back catalog, the first 20 episodes. Got some good stuff in there. Um, really glad that anyone listens at all. Knowing that somebody listens makes my day. Thanks, Vic, I guess.
That's who it is, man. Thank you, Victor.
So yeah,
I
I
think
want to
he's
thank
he's
Joseph for being here again. What's
giving
that?
give yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Derek. I give a shout out to Victor, man. It is his last day in the army. So
Oh, no doubt.
yeah, man. So he's
Congrats.
yeah, man. So tomorrow he actually he's leaving this base, coming back home to Texas. He's gonna have like a 16-hour drive. So hopefully he's listening to the podcast and here's us giving a shout out, man. There's a lot of content to listen to.
Right. If he didn't listen to all of them, he could just listen to all of them all the way down there.
There it is. There it is.
I mean,
So
that's 21 hours now
something like that.
for him to listen to.
Something like that. So, but thank you everybody who's listening. Sorry, my dog's going crazy in the very last of the episode. So, thank you for everybody that listens. We appreciate you guys. Bigfoot, man, we're gonna make you in this episode. I promise you. We're gonna get you in here sometime, man. So, Halloween is coming up. Halloween is coming up.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, no spoilers. But yeah, thank you everybody that listens, man. Derek, it's always a pleasure. You guys have a good weekend. Have a safe weekend, and definitely we'll talk to you guys next week.
All right, everybody have a good weekend. If you have a 3-day weekend, enjoy it, get some rest, and get out there and have some fun and be safe. And we'll see you next week.